Welcome to the Enjoy More 30s Family Finance Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to making life more enjoyable for young families by hitting on the financial topics that tend to weigh on us, stress us out, and distract our focus from simply enjoying life.
Hello and welcome to the Enjoy More 30s Family Finance Podcast, REMIX for rising rates. In 2022, there have been significant declines across pretty much every major asset class through the end of October. With rates rising significantly for the first time in a long time, it can be a very unnerving experience. So what we're doing on this series for you is going to attempt to kind of help you with that difference in what we're experiencing, going back and remixing a number of the past episodes to help you emotionally navigate what have been turbulent times. Each week I'll be remixing a different episode, bringing what I would say are timeless concepts back into focus of the present day situation. As always, before I begin, please share and like, please leave reviews. I'd love to reach and help as many young families out there that are just like you. Today's episode is a remix of the You May Already Be a Future Millionaire episode back in season 1. As parents, you know there's a ton of packing if you ever take your little ones on vacation. In our home, my wife Lauren does 99.9% of the packing. She's fantastic. I would say if I put out that, hey, I do 0.01%, it could potentially be overshooting my actual contribution. My involvement really only comes in at the end. Lauren does all the packing. She organizes everything. And then I kind of look at everything with her to say, do we need, 5 of these, or we could do with maybe 3 or 4 of those instead? Because I'm going to be the one that, is carrying most of the bags. Now, I'd rather very much so carry 10 heavy bags and not be missing something that would prevent a meltdown from a child in the middle of the airport or the hotel. However, I also don't want to mule carry, way more heavy bags than I necessarily have to. On vacation, we don't have that crystal ball, and we don't have that crystal ball when it comes to living our life either. But what we can do is still pause and take a look when it comes to finances, just like Lauren and I do with that last luggage check. What do we actually need? Keeping things in perspective. So projecting where your investments are going gives you an idea of where you're at. And a lot of times you could be surprised that if you've been doing a good job saving already, you may have what could turn into $1 million down the road already in your account. How this pertains specifically to today's environment is that we've seen a lot of our accounts drop down, obviously, this year, sometimes substantially, with what has happened so far in 2022. And what that translates to subconsciously for us now, because it's not a good feeling that we get from that, but let's go into why it's a bad feeling, is because that money is a sense of security. That money says, hey, my goals need this money to be accomplished. So are my goals now, as a result, getting impossibly farther away? So let's pause and jump into that a little bit further and just see how true this statement may even be. If you had, say, $250,000 in your 401k at the start of this year, you listened to my episode 1.3 and you used the rule of 72 to see what it may be worth down the road, say 20 years from now, if we assume 7% growth, you would come up with roughly $1 million. So again, the rule of 72 says if you take the 7% interest rate that we're assuming long term and divide it into that number, that's 72, you get roughly 10. So roughly every 10 years, the money should double. 250,000 doubles to 500,000 for the first 10 years, then doubles again the second 10 years in our example to $1 million, right? 500,000 doubles to 1 million. So for 20 years, that 250 that we have today would end at roughly the $1 million according to the rule of 72. If your account, though, is now down 20%, how does that change what the projections may be? So first, let's take an assumption and say that it's going to take a full year for you to recover back to that same mark. That it would take full 12 months for that 401k to get back up to the 250 that it started on January 1st with. So how does that affect our exercise's results? As the math starts to get a little bit more involved, because we got some odd numbers going on, I'm gonna jump in and help you out and do it for you. Since it took a year to recover in our example now, there's only 19 years left for that same 250,000 to grow during our total 20-year period of time that we set. So instead now of arriving at $1 million, With only 19 years to grow, we arrive at a lower number, obviously, around 940,000. So still not too bad by any means. You're not winding up with nothing by any stretch of the imagination. $940,000 is nothing to sneeze at. And when we do projections for people, that I would say it's likely not to have a significant impact on any retirement projections most of the time, depending on the rest of the person's situation, obviously. And a mere $75 a month increase in savings would make up the entirety of the difference according to all the assumptions that we're making here. So extra $75 a month, 7% for that last 19 years, and you make up the difference anyway. So essentially, if we change the way we're looking at it and we shine light on it in a little bit of a different way with our example, the goal that we have of retirement in 20 years, say, would be very substantially similar, if not identical, with that slight increase to savings. So again, is seeing your account go down fun? No, it's absolutely not fun. Is it enjoyable in any way? Of course not. It's quite unpleasant. At the same time, we do want to try to be keeping things in perspective. Yes, it's upsetting, but it's upsetting because money is a tool that we're relying on to accomplish our goals. So let's frame it back into money being a tool, back into the question of how will this ultimately impact us achieving our goals. So if we can still very reasonably expect to be on a substantially similar path for our goals, if we can frame our mindset as such, then we can really look at all of this a little bit more as perhaps traffic on the highway to our destination. So we're still getting to the destination, it's just slightly slower, instead of a situation where our car blew up and we're never going to reach our destination at all. Thanks for tuning in today, and join us for next week's Remix episode, How to Talk with Parents About Money Remix. So after today's episode, you may see that you may still be on a path to $1 million, but what about your parents who are already retired that aren't earning anything anymore? Are you concerned about their retirement now with a decline in their portfolios? So join us next week and we'll help you bridge that conversational gap. As always, please remember to review and share for others, and if you need any help, don't hesitate in reaching out. I probably have helped someone just like you. Until next week, thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.
The conversations on this show are Joe's opinions and provided for general information purposes only. They do not constitute accounting, legal, tax, or other professional advice for your specific situation. You should always seek appropriate advice from a financial advisor, accountant, lawyer, or other professional before acting upon any content or information found here first. Joe is affiliated with New Horizons Wealth Management, LLC, a branch office of TFS Securities, Inc., and TFS Advisory Services, an SEC-registered investment advisor, member FINRA/SIPC.